Is it just me, or is it Morpheus is here to take Neo back to the Matrix, where he belongs? It sure looks like it. After all, those two dudes hadn't seen each other for years after the events of Matrix 3. That's for sure. Well, anyway, hi ladies and dudes. This is Rebecca Lynn Barkley, aka Boobom 1987. This is my review for today. And today, yep, you already know what my next movie review is, right, ladies and dudes? We are going to continue on the John Wick Saga. And we are heading on to the next chapter, where he has to continue on killing people again. So for my next movie review is John Wick Chapter 2. And yes, this one is going to be a big, giant roller coaster ride. A roller coaster ride about where John Wick is going to continue on killing a lot of people. With guns and knives, explosions, whatever. So, let's head on to my next movie review of John Wick Chapter 2. So, let's head on to the main plot of the story. It took place 1 week later after the events of the first movie. John Wick has to pick up his car. The cars that the bad guys had stolen that came from in the very first film. And he got it back, but his car got frickin' beat up. And he asked his buddy to fix it for him. And he wants to have a nice, peaceful, quiet life, and he's trying to restart his life all over again from scratch. You know, with a brand new dog who's really, really sweet and lovable. Not until like an old friend of his that came from in his past who wants his help and he has to do another mission. But John Wick says no, he doesn't want that mission. He had enough of killing and he wants to be a normal man again and just continue on his normal life. And then, thanks to that idiot, who is an old friend of his, he destroyed John Wick's house. All of it. But the only thing that's left is the dog. And now John Wick has to go back to the world that he came from, becoming a cold-blooded assassin and continue on killing more lives. That's all I can say about the main plot of the story. I guess everybody wants to know is, what the heck do I think about this crazy sequel that continues the, the later on storyline of John Wick? Well, to tell you the truth, ladies and dudes, I will say this sequel is one crazy roller coaster ride. Yeah, there's a lot of ups and downs and damn in the middle type of stuff. No wonder they plan to continue on the John Wick storyline that involves action, thriller, gun shooting, and a whole ton of blood. And seeing John Wick kicking some A-word. What else I could say? And yeah, we got reunited with a familiar face that came from in the Matrix Saga. If you know what I mean. I will say, it had a pretty good storyline for the most part. The characters are likable. I love the cinematography of the movie. That was pretty darn awesome. The action scenes is pretty good. It had a really good score. Like I said, this is one roller coaster ride of a sequel. What else I could say? Let's go on to my strongest points and the weakest points of John Wick Chapter 2. I will say for the strongest points for this movie is I really love the 14-minute timeline for this film. Somewhere at the beginning of the film. I I will say for the 14 minutes of the beginning of the movie, it was sharp, it was fast-paced. I love all the thrilling moments that's going on in the film. And the only thing that John Wick cares about is getting his car back. The one that got frickin' beat up. I don't know why he has to go home with a beat up car. It's just nuts. And yeah, he has to make peace with this guy who is another member of the family. You know, the family that he killed back from the first film. Yeah, he just spared that dude's life. That's for sure. And the other strongest point in the movie is, I like the part where John Wick has to fight another bad guy outside. And this bad guy is really darn powerful. Played by Common. Yeah, if you remember that dude, he was in Run All Night with the old great and mighty Liam Neeson. I guess he really wants to do action thrilling films. That's rated R wise. I really love that fight scene that took place in Rome. It was so darn crazy. Crazy, nutty. And there was one point in the movie where they both broke a window and they made the manager mad. That was really, really crazy. That's for sure. I will say, for the two best, strongest points of the movie is the 14-minute time from the beginning of the movie, and also John Wick fighting this dude that took place in Rome. I will say, for the weakest points of the movie, I will say there's a little parts in the movie here and there that was way too slow. Just a few scenes here or there. Once the slowness stops, it'll go back to its fast pace. And the other weak point in the movie, I wasn't that comfortable with John Wick killing a woman in a jacuzzi hot tub. Yeah, I will say that scene kind of creeps me out. There was this lady who took off her clothes and she goes naked right in front of John Wick, and she used a knife to cut a part of her arms. That looks like something that came from Fatal Attractions in some ways. And yeah, she put the whole entire water into blood. Yeah, I will say that scene was way too creepy and scary for my taste. Something that'll scare me to death. Oh, by the way, John Wick, would you like to eat a Kit Kat bar while you see a woman naked and you're trying to kill her in public? Yeah, don't forget to eat yourself a Kit Kat bar for it. That's for sure. And now, let's go on to the characters. I'll just go with one character who's in the movie, and it is kind of surprising that some of us were thinking maybe John Wick Chapter 2 should have been the real Matrix 4. I did remember in the trailer when I first saw it, like back at 2016, if memory serves me right. I was kind of shocked and surprised that the guy who played Morpheus is going to be a part of this movie. And I was thinking to myself, is this going to be the Matrix 4? The real Matrix 4? I'm sure everybody was thinking about that as well. So let's go on to just one character of the movie. And that is the Pigeon Man, played by Lawrence Fishburne, Lawrence? Oh, it's so darn hard to pronounce his name. Lauren Fishburne? I think that's his name. Lawrence Fishburne. Yep. This is the most shocking thing I ever seen in this movie. And it's kind of weird that he and Keanu Reeves are going to have their mini Matrix reunion. And yes, I will say his character was pretty darn interesting, and he really likes his pigeons. He took care of so many pigeons for so many years, and he was trying to pretend he's a homeless dude. A homeless dude who has to take care of a lot of pigeons. I will say he's a pretty darn likable character. I really like You know, the part that he did reunite with John Wick, since they hadn't seen each other in years. And there was a little bit of a background story that he did fought John Wick before, and he had a mysterious scar on the back, on some part of his neck. Wow, that was pretty darn interesting. Yep. I just thought when I first saw that dude, it looks like he's tried to find Neo for all these years, and he found out the truth that Neo is still alive. So I'm sure he wants to find him and try to take Neo back to the Matrix. Maybe something went terribly wrong in the Matrix world and they had to start all over again from scratch. I think that's what I was thinking about. Weird thing to say. So yeah, the Pigeon Man is a pretty cool character and a nice, interesting addition to the John Wick storyline. And yes, he will return again for John Wick Part 3. That's for sure. And now let's head on to my final thoughts of John Wick Chapter 2. Overall, let me straighten the DVD a little bit. Overall, John Wick Chapter 2 is one wild, crazy roller coaster ride of a sequel. One of the most craziest sequels I ever watched in my whole entire life. I will say, it had a good storyline for the most part. The characters are likable. I love the cinematography of this film. It had a really good score, crazy action scenes, a whole lot of bloody, violent stuff, and everybody did say it became one of the most underrated movie sequels that came in the year of 2017. That's for sure. So I decided to give this movie a 9.1 out of 10. Good sequel to watch. And finally, join me tomorrow. Oh, I was afraid it might be upside down. Yep, we're heading on to the last one for now before we can have John Wick Chapter 4. So join me tomorrow for John Wick Chapter 3. And I know everybody will say this is one of the best John Wick movies of all time. That's for sure. So, to be continued.